And
Okay,
then
sir.
these are all the, see, basically from July 8th to July 9th, the syllabus has changed, not much, but there is a syllabus has changed, and the organization of questions and all that distribution of questions also has changed, and now more distribution is on the business environment and less number on the process and people. So accordingly, we will follow the current syllabus, and then the topics will be all project management fundamentals and all development approach. That is, earlier we had this waterfall model and all, but now it is mostly we are using agile and hybrid model. So it will be more focused on the agile concepts, and then we will do Scrum and all Kanban, extreme programming, and then project management, the time management, and then scheduling, critical path method, and then we'll have a project. We'll do project costing, which is very important for any project manager. Basically, how to make the cost sheet and all, and then we will teach earned value analysis for project tracking. That is, when we are tracking the project, how do you monitor the project? We use schedule performance index, cost performance index, you schedule variance, cost variance, all those concepts we'll try to cover. And then communication skills. For a project manager, communication skills is very important. They say that more than 90, a project manager typically spends more than 90% of his time, interacting with the various stakeholders, like interacting with the customer, interacting with the vendors, interacting with his own team, interacting with his higher management, and also communication skills is very important. So we will do effective communication skills. And then what are the leadership skills for a project manager? Leadership skills meaning he should have integrity, then he should have good communication skills, he should have HR management, that is interpersonal skills. So like that, we'll try to do what are the leadership skills for a project manager. And then going forward, stakeholder engagement. See, for a project manager, stakeholder engagement is important because he will be interacting with various stakeholders, and not all the stakeholders are equally important. Like he's interacting with customers, he's interacting with the vendors, and he's interacting with his own team members, and also interacting with the senior people. Now, all the stakeholders are not equally important. So we should identify who are the important stakeholders. And some people are important people, but then they don't show interest in the project. So interest level and importance, both the things we have to see, and then how to engage them effectively. What is the communication we need to give them? Are we going to give all the information to everybody? No, we don't give all the information to all the stakeholders. So how do you manage the stakeholders effectively? Very, very important. And then project procurement management. Then suppose it's IT project, lot of equipment we have to procure. We have some other materials we have to procure. All that. Some software licenses we have to procure. So what is the procurement management? How do you do that? Like we invite bids, then we have bid evaluation, and then we give order to the vendors, and then how do we manage them? They do the delivery, then there should be some penalty clause. All that part of procurement management. Then HR management, that is, as a part of the team, how do you procure the team members? How do you get the manpower? How do you arrange for the resources? And then once you get the people, maybe we get the people from outside. Maybe we get the people, we recruit them, or we may get from some other group. We may have the people internally. They may be working in some other group, in some other project. Or sometimes what happens is you are managing multiple projects. Then in one project, there may be people who are getting released. So you use those people. So say, and then how do you motivate them? You got the people. Then how do you motivate them to perform at their best? That is important. What are the motivation strategy? What is the motivator? Whether salary is the motivator, whether achievement is the motivator, recognition is the motivator, all those things we have to. How do you manage the team? And then I'll take some live examples from various projects. Actually, I have handled more than 20 projects so far in my career. So I'll take some good projects where I face lot of challenges. And how did I overcome? What is the way forward? Solution. What are the challenges? What are the solutions? That is important. I've handled both domestic as well as offshore projects. So we can take some examples from that. And then now coming up, this AI-driven project management. How does AI improve what are the tools? How does AI improve the project management? And then what are the risks involved in the AI-driven project management? There will be some couple of questions in this thing. And so we have to take care of that. And then project documentation, archival, configuration management. Project documentation is very, very important for any project manager, because then unless you have the documentation in place, you cannot effectively manage a project, because this documentation is something will be required every time. and then archival. And I have a lot of configuration management. You have to do archival properly, configure version control, very, very important. And then all them we'll do try to cover all these in a time frame of about 2 months. 2 months, about 45 hours, 40 to 45 hours. And then comes the mock test. We'll have a mock test at the end. And then the important thing is this mock test or there may be we may have to do 3 or 4 mock tests minimum before taking up the exam. Doing one mock test alone will not be sufficient. And then some people what they do is they will buy 4 mock tests from the market and they will do all of them in one shot. That is not the correct strategy. What we should do is we should take one mock test, try to get what is the score, and then analyze what are the strong areas and more important what are the weak areas where we need more strengthening. Doing all the mock tests in one go is not the right strategy. We should do one mock test, try to analyze where did I go wrong. Maybe there are 12 knowledge areas. Maybe I did very good in scope management and but time management I got less scores. So focus on those areas where there is improvement needed. Another thing is even in those things where areas where we scored well, individually analyze each question. Where I went wrong, what is the strategy, what I should have done, or what I could have done. That is important. You see the strategy. Why did I mark the wrong answer? Why I mark that way? If you do, then you can score very well. You can and this mock tests and all that we should aim for at least 70% mark minimum before taking up the test. Because what happens is we have to be at home. We are practicing at home. We are practicing in an office where our environment is very good. We are in a very comfort zone. So if you get 70% marks in the mock test at home, you may get less in the exam. That happens. So we have to at least aim for about 70% marks to crack the exam with confidence. So that is important. And then we have to do a series of mock tests and then we have to analyze our scores and then we have to improve, consistently improve. So that would be, and then what I will do is I will take one project. See, out of all the projects that I have handled, because I have a lot of experience as a project manager, hands-on experience, I will take one project and I will run through all the process hands-on. I will give some kind of data of one of the projects and ask you to make a project schedule, ask you to make a project charter, ask you to make a project charter, ask you to make a schedule, ask you to make the risk management plan, everything as if you are handling a project. I'll do that. So that what happens is by the time 2-3 months time or 2 months time, the person is fully equipped to handle a project. That is the practical side of it. Because most of the students who come to me, they ask for that. They say just theory is not enough. I want both theory as well as practical. So this is what I do. Let's take an exact project. I handle many projects in the defense and police. So I can take one project from the police and give a complete run through. Complete run through. I can actually give the data, ask them to make a charter, schedule, everything. Even the status. They can present the status to me as if I am the management and he is the project manager. 10 minutes or 15 months, 15 minutes presentation of the status. That is a complete run through. That will give as if you are handling a project. You are not physically present there, but then as good as handling a project. So if you do that way, then if you enter a project management role or if you are going to some other company also, you'll be immediately able to take up the role. That is the advantage. Now, what is the methodology? Other thing is I found that many people actually they are in a project management role or they are some aspiring to be a project manager. But what happens is they don't know the basic concepts. They may be knowing the concepts, but they are not very clear. So what happens is when they go for the PMP training, they find their everything is blank because there they normally don't start from the basics. So everything is blank. So I always do the found. I have made some PPTs about a 50, 60 slides PPT where I start from the very, very basic, right from the definition concept, so that everybody is very clear, and then it makes understanding much easier. So 2-3 sessions will be foundation training. I call it foundation. It is like just like the foundation of a house. Unless you have a good foundation, you cannot build a house. You cannot build an apartment. Even if you build an apartment without a foundation, at some point it will break. So foundation is very important. So have a foundation training, make understanding easier, and then try to explain all the concepts with live examples from projects, not a bookish kind of thing, not like just reading the PM box. Try to explain with live examples. So it will make very easier for you, easier and interesting. And run through all the, as I told you, I'll take one live project and run through all the, and ask you to do it. Not, I won't do it myself. I give you the data, you can do it and then present to me. If there is any difficulty, then I'll help. And then quizzes at regular intervals. At the end of each knowledge area. Suppose we have done the first is foundation, basics of project management. Let's complete that, have a small quiz. Actually, I have made a lot of quizzes and all. I make some study materials also. So I use those quizzes at regular intervals and mock test at the end. Mock test at the end and then discussion and feedback on the improvement areas. Okay, any questions? Any questions?
Okay.
Is it clear? Any questions?
No, sir. I clear.
Clear?
Basically,
Shall I go further?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Now, just I'll go through some basic concepts of project management. Just a couple of 10, 15 minutes or so.
Okay, okay.
Concepts of project management. Now, as I told you, we'll start with the very basic. What is the project? Now, project here, what you should understand is you should understand every word of this definition is very important, because when you are taking the PMP exam, they will test your clarity. So every word of this definition is very, very important. Project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create unique product, service, or result. And the temporary nature of projects indicates a beginning and an end to the project, work, or a phase of the project. What it means? It doesn't word the English, not it's not exactly the English word temporary. It means the project has a fixed beginning and a start date and fixed end date. Then it should give rise to a unique product. It should lead to a unique product, service, or a result. So what is the meaning of product? We know. We say software product. We know this product, that product. And then we say service. Service also, is a airline service, for example. Then for this training, I'm using a Wi-Fi. That's a service. I use a service from Airtel. But what is the result? Result is, see, suppose I go and get my blood examined. I go to a clinic or a diagnostic lab. I get my blood examined. What happens? Do I get any product? No, I don't get. I get some service. But what important is, they will give you a report. They will just give you a report or a result. So that is also a project, because it has got a start date and end date, and then it has got some resources deployed, and it has got an end result. End is a product, is a result. It's not a product, it's a result. So the temporary nature indicates a beginning and an end to the project work, or it can be the phase of the project work. I'll come to the definition of that. And the output can be a project, service, or a result. Now, every project, when we say project, actually it has some characteristics. If those characteristics are met, then only we can call it a project. Otherwise, not. First thing is well-defined start date and a well-defined end date, number one. Then it should have well-defined deliverables, product, service, or result. Then have resources deployed, For example, then it should have a resources, mean it can be people, man, machine, materials, resources deployed, and then progressive elaboration. These are the progressive elaboration. I'll come to that. What is the meaning of progressive elaboration? Progressive elaboration means that the scope of the project is progressively elaborated. For example, suppose we take construction of a house. This is a project. Construction of a house is a project. Why it is a project? Because it has got a definite start and a definite end date. When we are going to start the construction of the house, when we are going to end the construction. Then it has got a well-defined deliverable. The house itself is well-defined deliverable. It has got resources deployed. It has got designer, it has got engineers, it has got masons, carpenters, so many resources. And then there is a progressive elaboration, because when we are constructing the house, immediately when I begin the construction, I don't know in my bathroom how my tiles will be, how my commode will be, how my wash basin will be. I don't know now. But when I do the construction, at that time I get more clarity. Then I will elaborate my scope. That is called progressive elaboration. So in any project, initially when you start the project, scope may not be clear, not 100% clear. Suppose I am doing a software project. When I begin the project, my scope may be 90% clear, or sometimes even 70% clear. But as I so go on progressing, my clarity, I get more and more clarity. Customer will give me more and more inputs. So I slowly, I will elaborate this scope. This is called progressive elaboration. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Hello? Yeah, can I go further? Are you
Yes,
able
yes,
to
yes,
able to hear? No? Okay.
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, so that is called progressive elaboration. This is so these four characteristics are what defines a project. Well-defined start date and end date, well-defined deliverables, product, service, or a result, have resources deployed, and then the progressive elaboration of the scope. For example, in a software project, we first deliver one prototype and then we give it to the customer. Then customer will come back with his feedback. We improve that. Then customer will second round, third round, like that we keep on elaborating the scope. And so that is called progressive elaboration. Now, what are some examples of a project? Developing a software product. Is that if you're IT professional, we are very clear about what is software product. So, software package. So it will have a start date, end date, defined start date, defined end date, and it has got resources deployed. It has got a deliverable, and it has got a progressive elaboration. Similarly, writing a book, it's a project. Similarly, constructing a house, it's a project. Creating videos, educational videos. I develop education videos for schools. So based on some models, science explanation of science concepts based on live model. So this is a education video. This is a project because each video you develop one video. It has got a start date and end date, fixed start date, fixed end date. It has got resources deployed. I am a resource. Teacher is a resource. The principal of the school is a resource. Students are all they're all resources. There is a definite product. The video itself is a product, and there is a progressive elaboration because the first time I delivered the video, now the students are going through it, teacher is going through it, he has come with some comments, so I have to improve that. He says these models are okay, but then it needs more painting, repainting, all that. So they have to do that. So there's a progressive elaboration of the scope. Then organizing a conference, again a project, fixed start date, end date, it has got deliverables, it has got progressive elaboration, it has got resources deployed. These are all some examples of a project. Examples of a project. Now, what is project management? The word project management, we use this word very often. Application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet project requirements. That is, what are the skills? What are the knowledge? We are see this PM walk or this PMI training, this PMP training. We are gaining knowledge. We are gaining knowledge from various. We read so many books, magazines. We are gaining knowledge. What is a skill? We need skill. Project manager knowledge is not enough. He needs skill. He needs communication skills. He needs problem solving skills. He needs delivery management skills. He needs communication skills and so on. What are the tools? Tools and techniques. Microsoft Project is a tool. Jira is a tool. Artificial intelligence tools. So many tools. Techniques to manage, to meet, to project activity. Use these knowledge, skills, and all to project activities to meet project requirements. That is project management. And project management is guiding the project work using all these things, knowledge, skills, and tools, and to deliver the intended outcomes. So this is all, we are all aiming at we are doing project management. We want to become project, we want to get into a project management role. These are the project management, basic definition, basically. And then who is a project manager? A project manager is one who is assigned by the performing organization to lead the project team to achieve the project objectives. So once we get up, once the customer gives a project to us, then the management will assign a project manager. He will generate a project initiation note, pin note. Then in that project initiation note, will say that Mr. X is the project manager for this project. Definition all clear? Definitions are clear. Shall I go? Shall I move further? Move
Yes,
further?
yes, sir. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Now, what is a program? And then program is another word we use very commonly. What is the difference between project and a program? Program is nothing but a set of projects, related projects, which are managed in a coordinated manner to obtain benefits not available from managing them individually. So we can manage the projects individually also, but then we will not get the advantage of synergy. The word is synergy. Suppose 2 plus 2 is not always 4. 2 plus 2 can be 10. That is synergy. For example, I was handling 4 or 5 projects for one of the US customers. All these projects are for the same customer, and more or less the domain also like automotives, for example. But all these projects, they had something in common. For example, they are all implemented in C++. They're all, they are all firmware projects. So something in common. There is a common thread going through them. That is a program. Now, what I do is, now all these projects, they have two, three things in common. They all have testing. With all the projects have testing. So what I did is I identified one guy and then I trained him very well on the testing. So he was useful for doing testing of all the projects. So instead of putting 5 people with one person, I could manage the testing. Similarly, documentation. Documentation, every project will have document. Every project you have to make a user document, you have to make a SRS, you have to make a design document, everything. So I trained one guy, not very, as a very junior guy, right from the college, he has come from the college. So I used him in a documentation role. He was able to do it very well. So we used him across all the projects. So that is the idea of a program. So as a program manager, you have to handle the projects, related projects in a very, very coordinated way, very synergistic way. So this is the concept of program. And then implementing, for example, large ERP system, many projects will be there and they will all be normally one ERP. Suppose we are using Oracle ERP, something, all the projects. So they will, and all the projects in a program, they will have some commonality. Otherwise, there is no use of having a set of projects. Maybe the domain is the same, or maybe the customer is the same, or maybe the technology is the same. There will be some common thread running across all the projects. That is very, very essential. And then, for example, another example, product launch, IT integration program, lot of small projects which are bundled together, and then we manage as a program. And then now project at the beginning, and then program, and the next level is portfolio. What is program management? What is program management is showing the different automotive domain, biopharmacy, micro. These are different domains. Under that, various projects. And then what is portfolio? At the lower end level, first the project, set of projects into a program, and set of programs into a portfolio. What is a portfolio? Projects, programs, subsidiary portfolios, and operations managed as a group to achieve strategic objectives. At the top, we have the strategic object. What is strategic objective? Every organization will have some strategic objectives. To meet those strategic objectives, your portfolio will be first, like that has to be aligned. Your portfolio has to be aligned with your strategy. And then the programs have to be aligned with the portfolio, and the projects have to be aligned with the program. Then only your organization will work. Now, for example, strategic objective. Suppose there may be an organization which wants to go green. Go green. That is a strategy. Then portfolio and all that and projects should be, we should support or we should promote all those projects which don't use fossil fuel, which use fuel, like which don't use fuel, they use solar, they use tidal. So we should give thrust to all those projects. So that is called portfolio alignment. We will come to that if we do this thing. Portfolio is called portfolio alignment. This will be aligned with the strategy of the organization. For example, it's a student portfolio. Like student portfolio, it may have some artwork, something, academics, thesis. Then other thing is financial portfolio. Financial portfolio, we are very commonly we use like in a banking sector portfolio, like you have mutual funds, you have fixed deposit, all these are part of financial portfolio. So first strategy, if you have a triangle, top of the pyramid strategy, next will come portfolio, next will come program, the next will come projects, and then your tasks and your team members. So it's just like a pyramidal structure, bottom, top to bottom, strategy, portfolio, program, and then projects. Now this is just showing a project management, just the approach. You assess first requirements, assessment matter, requirements gathering or assess. I have a project, I go to the customer, I understand what is his requirements. Then I define the requirement, and I make, if it's an IT driven project, I make a software requirement specification. I define, because unless I define, I cannot handle the project. Because I have to define and I have to put it on paper and pencil. Define. I make a document. and then design. And then next is design. Design the software, and then build coding, actual coding. I build the software, and then a testing, and then go live. So this is just showing the cycle, project management cycle. Now here talked about progressive elaboration. And this is agile. This is called, earlier we used waterfall model, but now slowly more of the projects use agile. So rolling wave, it is also called rolling wave technology, rolling wave agile approach, iteration, prototyping. That is, first I make a prototype. For example, this mobile phone. This mobile phone, 15 years back, this mobile phone was not like this. It was absolutely different. When I 15 years back, I had a mobile phone. That's so bulky and no features at all. And now this is almost like a laptop. This mobile phone today is almost like a laptop. 50% laptop. Earlier phone so bulky, no fit. How it happened? Just because of progressive elaboration. First model, make the model, it goes into the market, customer gives feedback, it improves, so improvement. So that is nothing but progressive elaboration. Nothing but progressive elaboration. That's called agile. We will come to that when we discuss about agile. Different methods are there: Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming. Different methods are there. This is practical example of a project, house construction. You will be very. It's interesting that this PMP concepts, everything initially originated from the construction industry, and then it moved to other sectors like IT and all that, engineering, mechanical engineering stuff. But actually, it originated from the practical, the construction industry. So if you see the PMP, all these, many examples will be based on the construction. Now, very important, most important concept of project management is called iron triangle of project management. What is that? In every, see, any project, there will be three parameters. One is time. Customer will say you do the project in 4 months time. I will not accept 6 months. I have to do it in 4 months. Please do it in 4 months. Other is cost. What is in how much budget? See, I have to do the budget project in $90,000. That's it. I will not get $1 more also. Scope. Mostly the scope will be initially fixed for a project. Within a project's given scope, time, cost, and quality are what are the variables. Scope is fixed, almost fixed. Of course, there is a progressive elaboration, but initially some scope is given. And then time frame and I have to manage. Cost, budget, and then quality. Quality is important. So I got a project for sophisticated automobiles like BMW, Mercedes. Like for that, there is a mirror control firmware we have to develop for mirror control. But there, the customer is insisting on top quality. He says, I will not accept even if there is a one bug in the software, because that bug can actually change the movement of the mirrors, which is very important. So quality is very important. But then what happens is time, cost, and quality. What this golden triangle says is time, cost, and quality are not independent. They are interrelated. How? Suppose I want the time to be reduced. My customer says, no, I can't accept in 6 months. I want the project to be completed in 4 months. Then what will you do? You will put more people on the job. The cost will increase. When I put more people, my cost will increase. Similarly, quality. If the customer is saying, I don't want any bug in the software, I want 100% quality, then what I will do, I'll put 1% dedicatedly for that. So my cost will go up. So these are all three are related. One goes up, the other will decrease. One decreases, the other may increase. So a good project manager is one who is able to find the right balance between time, cost, and quality. So this has to be a equilateral triangle. If you are a good project manager, this will be a equilateral triangle, almost equilateral triangle. Now points to note, time, cost, and quality are related, closely related. Suppose we want to reduce the time taken for the project, then I have to put more resources. Obviously, my cost will go up. Suppose we want to enhance the quality, just now we discussed, we have to, obviously, cost will go up, my timelines will also go up because I have to do more testing. So a good project manager is the one who can balance out between time, cost, and quality. Right balance between time, cost, and quality. Now, what is the time management? Now, little bit in this thing, I am trying to give a glimpse of bird's eye view of time, cost, quality, risk, and all that, all of it. Now, we have just touched upon the basic concept. Now, I move to project scheduling or time management. This is just showing a Gantt chart. Gantt chart is we just use bars to represent the various activities, and this is something we present to the. Suppose we have to present something to the top management. Top management. Suppose to the board of directors. Suppose I have to make a presentation. He doesn't want nuts and bolts. He wants a chart like this, a Gantt chart. When the phase one will be complete, when the phase two will be complete, he doesn't want a per chart or the detailing because he doesn't have time to go through all that, and some people may not understand also fully. So he wants a Gantt chart. The top management may need a Gantt chart. This is a bar chart. This we know bar chart. These are all pie chart. These are called information radiators. These are the word is information radiators because we present the information in various ways so that we can understand, we can grasp the information in a better way. So these are all the word is information radiator. Now, very important concept as a project manager, every project manager must understand this critical path very clearly. What is a critical path in a network is the longest sequence of tasks that must be completed for completing the project. You cannot do the project in less than the critical path, whatever you do. Critical path is a very important aspect of project management. You cannot complete the project in less than the critical path, whatever you do. This is critical path method. And then this is now, suppose this is a project and we make a network diagram for the project. These are A, B, C, D are all various tasks in the project. Now here this green, what he is saying, this is the critical path. A, B, C, D, E. This is the longest path in this project. For example, this is a typical example. Suppose this is one project. This is one project. This has got one. These are tasks. This whatever is in this boxes in the rectangular box. These are different tasks, and these are the time. This task will take 1 day. This task will take 2 days. This will take 1 day, like that. Now here this is called, this is network diagram. This is network diagram. Now there are three paths in this network. First is the top path. One, but this path will take 1 plus 2, 3 days. Second path, only one task. It will take 1 day. The third path, which is 1 plus 2 plus 1, takes 4 days. So which is the longest path here? Which is the longest path here? Which is the longest one? 4 days. The lowest one is the longest path. Isn't it? 1 plus 2 plus 1. So this is the critical path in the network. The other paths are not so critical. And when I am managing this project, yeah, tell me.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the lowest path takes 4 days is the critical path. And when I am managing this project, I have to focus on these critical path activities or tasks, because if these tasks get delayed, my project will get delayed. So I have to focus on the critical path activities. Critical path activities. This is another example. I have a project where there are 3 buildings being constructed. This is a real estate project. Building 1, building 2, building 3. Now, construction of building 1 takes 31 months. Construction of building number 2 takes 18 months. Construction of building number 3 takes 13 months. So now what happens is, now 31 months is obviously the critical path, because that is the longest path. And then I cannot do the project in less than 31 months, because even if I make the building 2 and 3 ready, unless I make the building 1 ready, I can't hand over to the customer. Isn't it? Unless all the 3 buildings are ready, I can't hand over to the customer. So building 1 is the critical path in this network, which is 31 months. So I cannot complete the project in less than 31 months. Now comes the next question. Suppose my customer says, no, I want the project in 20 months. Then what do I do? Then there are 2 ways of shortening the project timeline. 2 ways. One is called crashing, other is called fast tracking. Now, crashing, what we do is we put more resources on the critical path. When I put more resources on the critical path, my critical path activities time duration will decrease, and then my entire project schedule will decrease. Correct? Correct? Is it correct when I put more resources on the critical path activities? Isn't it? My critical path will reduce. है ना?
Yes, 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 yes,
है
correct.
ना? If I put more resources on the, I put more people,
More PP, more manpower.
हाँ मैन पावर मोर हो जाएगा, मैं उसमें मोर,
Mm.
मैं ज्यादा लोग लगाता हूँ ऑन द
And
क्रिटिकल
resource,
पाथ टास्क,
also
तो मेरा टाइम विल
resources.
reduce, isn't it? But what
Yeah,
will happen, but the cost will also increase because I am putting more people. Suppose it is building or construction of the house, I put more, मैं more लोग ज्यादा लगाता हूँ, I put more masons, I put more carpenters, obviously time will reduce but they will charge, so my cost will also
yeah,
increase. But there is
cost will
another way, it's
increase.
called fast tracking. Fast tracking, I can reduce the project duration without increasing the cost. How do I do it? I do the tasks in parallel. I'll come to that. So these are two ways of shortening the project timeline. One is called crashing, other is called fast. Fast tracking में क्या है? Cost तो कम हो जाएगा, sorry, time तो कम हो जाएगा, लेकिन cost उतना ही रहेगा because I am not putting more people here. Example of fast tracking. Suppose आप एक रिपोर्ट बना रहे हैं, you are preparing the report. यू आर राइटिंग द रिपोर्ट, यू आर टाइप व्हाट आर, हाउ डू यू मेक अ रिपोर्ट? पहले तो आप उसको लिखेंगे, यू राइट द रिपोर्ट, फिर आपको टाइप करना पड़ेगा, यू टू गिव इट फॉर टाइपिंग, और यू विल टाइप योरसेल्फ वट एवर वे, एंड देन यू हैव टू डू प्रूफ रीडिंग. These are the three steps. Suppose you prepare the right for report for a MTech or something MBA. This is the way writing the, फिर आप टाइप करोगे and then you will do proofreading. So this is preparing a report. Suppose this, let's say writing the report takes 1 month, 30 days. Typing the report takes 15 days. Then proofreading takes 5 days. तो इसमें क्या होगा कि इसमें टोटल टाइम कितना होगा? 1 मंथ. सपोज आई डू इट सीक्वेंशियली मैं पहले रिपोर्ट लिखता हूँ 1 मंथ, देन आई गिव इट फॉर टाइपिंग, वो टाइप करके देगा, 15 दिन लगता, देन वो प्रूफ रीडिंग करेंगे 5 days. So total time will be how much? 30 plus 15 plus 5, 50 days. So this making this project report will take 50 days. बट मेरे पास उतना टाइम नहीं है. माई प्रोफेसर सेज नो, आई कांट वेट फॉर दैट मच, आप जल्दी करो इसको, डू इट फास्ट. देन व्हाट टू डू? देन वी डू पैरेलली, डू द थिंग्स पैरेलली. फर्स्ट चैप्टर ऑफ द रिपोर्ट मैं लिख के आई गिव इट फॉर टाइपिंग. Then when he types the first chapter, then I am writing the second chapter. Similarly, proofreading. So I do things parallelly. By that I can reduce the time for the project, time schedule of the project. इसमें क्या, schedule तो कम हो जाएगा, schedule will reduce, but then cost will be same because I am not putting any additional resource. Only thing is I am doing the tasks in parallel. But there is a risk in this. There is a risk. टाइम कम हो जाएगा, कॉस्ट भी ज्यादा नहीं होगा, लेकिन देर इज अ रिस्क इन दिस टाइप ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट. इस पे एक रिस्क है. रिस्क क्या है कि लाइक what will happen is I am writing the first chapter, correct? And then I am giving it for typing. Meanwhile, I am writing the second chapter. Now, when I am writing the second chapter, then I find that there is some of the things may be related to what is written in the first chapter, and I might have to change that. Then how will I change? I have already given it for typing. So there will be a lot of rework in this. So timeline will be, definitely timeline will reduce, but there is a there is a risk of rework in this because you are doing things in parallel. IT scenario, IT projects, requirement gathering कर लिया, लेकिन there are 4 modules, but first module का requirement gathering कर दिया and I start the design. Now when I am going to the second module, oh then I find, oh that was, ये तो इसमें related है, this I forgot. अब क्या करेंगे? Then I have to again do everything. सेकेंड चैप्टर तो लिख दिया मैंने, लेकिन इट इज रिलेटेड टू फर्स्ट चैप्टर विच नो ओनली आई अंडरस्टैंड. दिस कॉन्सेप्ट इज रिलेटेड टू दैट, ये डेफिनेशन तो वहां से आ गया है, ये मैं क्या करूंगा? आई हैव टू डू द रीवर्क. So my cost is same. I have not put any additional fee, but there is a risk of rework. And then at the end, you may get into a very challenging situation because when it testing, when I'm going to live, going to go live, oh ये तो सब related है, which I didn't think I did parallel तो कर दिया, लेकिन ये तो सब related है, now what do I do? So there is a lot of risk. So this is the risk involved. सेकेंड चैप्टर लिख दिया तो फर्स्ट चैप्टर से रिलेटेड, थर्ड चैप्टर फोर्थ चैप्टर लिख दिया, नाउ आई फाइंड एवरीथिंग इज इन मिस मेस बिकॉज दे आर ऑल रिलेटेड. तब क्या करेंगे? देन आई हैव टू रीडू. सारा मॉड्यूल्स तो मैंने डेवलप कर दिया इंडिपेंडेंटली, पैरेलली कर दिया, एंड नाउ मैं टेस्टिंग गो लाइव आ गया एंड देन आई फाइंड ओहो ये तो चलता ही है, तो चला ही नहीं, ये तो चल रहा नहीं है, क्या करेंगे, ये तो सारा रिलेटेड है, isn't it? Second module is related to the first, third module is related to first and second, अब क्या करेंगे ये तो. So there is a rework, there is a lot of reuse, so there is a risk involved. Now there is now normal distribution. This is important. Why I am touching this normal distribution? Important concept of statistics. Why I am touching this topic is because in project management we use this very often, because what happens is you are handling a project, so it has got some time. Maybe 90 days may complete karna hai, but then there is a risk it may not complete in 90 days. So what is the probability that it gets completed in 120 days? What is the probability it is finished earlier? 90 days में नहीं 70 days में ही हो जाए, that's a probability. Probability is less but there is a chance. So what is the probability? It's all based on normal distribution. There are other kinds of distribution also, but then project management में normally we use normal distribution. Normal distribution, what happens is there is a 3 sigma variation. This is the mean, and then this is sigma plus 2 sigma plus 3 sigma. They say that 99% of the data are within x bar minus 3 sigma to x bar plus 3 sigma. 95% is by statistics. 95% of the observations within x bar minus 2 sigma to x bar plus 2 sigma. 68% within x bar minus sigma to x bar plus sigma. Suppose we go to a school, for example, the height of the people are normal distribution. Most of the God's creation, IQ, normal distribution. Pregnancy period, 9 months it takes, but then it's a normal distribution. It may take 8 months, it may take 10 months, also normal distribution. All these God's creation mostly are normal distribution. And what happens? Suppose I go to a school, all 10th class student, height, normal distribution. Most of them will be within 5 feet if they normal, 4 feet 8 inches to 5 feet 5 inch. I am not going to find a person 6.5, 7 feet tall. Will it be there? Absolutely not. 0.1% only probability. Similarly, dwarf 3 feet. Will there be a person in that class? There won't be. So most of the observations will be within 99.7% will be within x bar minus 3 sigma and x bar plus 3 sigma. So this will be very useful when we do the project management, when we try to analyze the risk. I know this project will be completed within 4 months, but I don't know. It may not be because my people may go on छुट्टी. They वो sick leave में चले गया, कोई हो गया, कुछ किसी को marriage हो गया, that girl may go and get married. What to do? Or somebody may leave the company. That also can happen. So I can't say 4 months में होगा जरूर होगा. We can't do that. So there is a probability that it is completed within 5 months. It is completed in 6 months. So we can at least we can analyze and see. Oh, there is a fair chance that this will happen. So that is why we use normal distribution. This is important. Now, real life example, height of students in a school, normal distribution. Blood pressure, normal distribution. If you take 100 people in a group and you see the blood pressure, systolic blood pressure, it will have a normal distribution. IQ of people in a group. Suppose normal average IQ is 100. So you will find a lot of people with 90 and 110. You won't find somebody genius 150. Not possible. Very small chance. So these are all real life examples. Normal distribution. Most of God's creation, they follow normal distribution. Now, time management, just I have given a brief, but this is alone is not enough. Just a bird's eye view, a very essence of time management. When we actually do the full course, we will do lot many things. This is just the essence. I am trying to give an essence. Just said this is like the foundation of the house. Now, project costing, elements of project cost. What are the elements? Manpower cost, person months. I put more people, I'll spend more money. Equipment cost, hardware, software, raw materials. And then materials. These are three main elements of any project, cost elements. Manpower cost, equipment cost, material cost. Then what happens? Suppose IT industry or IT projects. Most of it will be 90% of it will be manpower. Equipment, small amount of equipment, and then materials, very less. Whereas in some other project, suppose it's a equipment, it's a kind of a mechanical engineering project. Equipment cost will be there, material cost will be there. Maybe that will be very high. Manpower may be less. So it depends on the type of project. So these are the three basic elements. Every project will have a manpower cost, equipment cost, and materials cost. Now, this is one example. As I said, if we are doing this, if you are enrolling for this course with me, then as I told you, I take all my students through one particular example, because all of them say that I don't want a theoretical thing that won't help. I want a mechanical, sorry, I want a practical hands-on. So I take them normally through a real life project. Now, suppose I did a project for the Delhi police, a fingerprint analysis system, where see the police, like, they use fingerprints are all stored in the database. They're all scanned and stored in the database. So if there is a, at the scene of crime, they capture the fingerprint using some